Okay, so this is the first thing to mention. Sakurai mentioned pretty often about Sora's moves being active. Like right there, he says the timing window for the attacks are longer. So I think that means a lot of Sora's moves are active, which is really, really good. Just because you have leniency, and a lot of his moves are like combo moves that like go into, they're like multi-part moves. And I think the activity combined with that sounds pretty good. That's like one of the main things I noticed that Sakurai was really trying to get out there about the character. Maybe it's something combined with like the fact that his moves go into a combo. So it looks like the moves are active so they can be lenient so you could connect into the rest of the move or something like that. So you can repeatedly press or hold it down. I think those things have to go hand in hand then, like the moves having a lot of activity then. And someone asked, what does it mean active? The move lasts for a long time. So it looks like you can just hold the button or press the button. I would imagine how this interacts with the shielding opponent. One of the first things I was thinking of when with this 3-hit combo concept is, what does it do on shield? For example, in Smash 4, Bayonetta's forward air was a 3-hit move. You know, there was different delays you could do with it on hit and all that kind of stuff. But on shield, the first hit of forward air bounced. It like bounced on their shield. And you could kind of react to whether you got it or not. And if you didn't get it, you could just do the first hit and then disengage. I'm wondering if Sora's going to have anything like that. Or if his move is just going to hit a shield like a normal attack and that's it. And you can't go into the rest of the 3-hit combo. Or if you can, if it has some sort of mechanic. Because he is really floaty too. So we'll see if he can kind of go for these 3-hit combos safely on shield or not. We'll see. So like if you look at it in the air, it does like bounce a little bit. Yeah, it might actually work like Bayonetta in Smash 4, which is funny because she doesn't have it in this game. We'll see. This is on an opponent that's actually getting hit. I don't know if we saw anything about like a shielding opponent yet. Oh, okay, so you're just going right into the 3-hit combo like without even hitting anyone. Okay. So you can probably do some interesting stuff on shield then. So this seems like a pretty lenient mechanic and something you could probably do a lot of nasty stuff with. Basically. I wonder... Yeah, you can... It looks like you could act faster than that. I just wonder how unsafe it is to like just stop, especially with these grounded 3-hit combos, right? This looks pretty unsafe. I think you have to either... It seems hard to not get punished here, and we'll see. Like in the air, it does not seem as bad, especially obviously because they're on hit there. But like you're able to hit the ground and like do something else. But I think if you're doing like a grounded 3-hit combo on a shield, like I don't know what you can do to not get punished for it. So the thing about this up tilt is I can't tell when the first actionable frame truly is. So when you see the up tilt connect, Sora does like a little animation after the move is done, right? But the question is, can you act out of that animation, or does it actually truly take this long? If Sora does that animation and you can't do anything after the up tilt, then there's no combos after that, like true combos, right? But if you can, then what Sakurai's saying is probably true. That just looks like a solid move. This is literally, it just reminds me of Pyra, like the startup of it. Like somewhere in between Mithra and Pyra. Like this is what you're gonna want to see a lot in terms of combos. The interesting thing about this forward smash is it actually doesn't have too much range. But once again, Sakurai's really adamant about talking about how active Sora's moves are. Like they last for a long time. One of the key characteristics of the trailer, this up smash is like even easier to tell that is really active. It has like an effect to it. It like lingers a bit. And like that like sparkle effect is a hitbox, it looks like. Pretty basic smash attacks, but they'll get the job done probably. It looks strong. This is an interesting move. There's a few moves in Smash that have this like hop thing to it, and their hurt box will actually leave the ground. So, for example, like Ivysaur up tilt, when Ivysaur up tilts, she like can't get grabbed and everything because her box actually just goes straight up and all that. Diddy Kong up smash is another one. This one will actually probably be pretty weird to like shield grab or something on your shield or like punish because Sora might just straight up be leaving the ground, but we'll see. This one looks a little less like traditional than the other smash decks because of that. It would be nice to see how it interacts with like opponents recovering, two framing, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I didn't even have to say that whole spiel. Sakurai literally showed it off. Wow, I remember this now. That's pretty crazy one. That's like a more unique smash deck. I think the most comparable move that I think of right off the bat with back air is me Sword Fighter, actually. Same exact animation. Sakurai's mentioning it's strong, so probably a nice move to just like space with if you're looking for a kill and just kind of play the traditional Sword Fighter game. Oh, okay. I thought Sakurai was saying the move has a lot of range, and I was like, it clearly doesn't. But he's mentioning like combined with Sora's statistics. Yeah, that's the thing about these moves. Sakurai seems to be compensating for some things with like the floatiness, the activity of the moves. Yeah, not much to say about the up air and the back air. Just kind of like traditional sword fighter moves. And just because there isn't much to say doesn't mean they're not good. They're just you know, nice disjoints, get the job done. You know, decent frame data, right? It's what you'd expect from like a weapon like a sword. So when I first look at this, I know there's like some weird stuff with it, like cancels or something, but this move on its own is just not the nicest move just because of the limitations of it and like how long it takes and all that stuff, right? So it's not the most attractive move at first glance to like a competitive player, but there's more to it I think later on, so we'll just move on. These throws will probably be similar to like actually that back throw looks a bit meatier. The damage output of Sora's throws looks like they might be low, maybe except this one. Yeah, that's definitely weaker. Alright, here's where we're getting into the DLC stuff. I like the down throw and up throw. Those obviously have the most potential. I think down throw looked the best just because you can act the fastest and it had the least knockback. There might be situations where up throw is better, but I'm going to assume down throw is the best at least 90% of the time. If that back throw actually kills, that's pretty crazy. A character like this usually doesn't have that, and if they do, it's at very high percents. So we'll see just how good that is. But yeah, if the back throw is good, that could be a game changer. Even if it's just pretty good, a character like this usually doesn't have something that easy in terms of killing off a grab, so we'll see. So the thing about this move is the first actionable frame of all of them look pretty, it looks laggy basically. The question is, when will you be able to use this if it's this committal, right? Against like a fast-ish character. Yes, so this is interesting because you're able to act faster only if you shoot another one. So at max distance, like in terms of fighting an opponent, that's fine. But in terms of like the mid-range and all that, like it seems hard to just commit to this. And all of them seem that way, right? Like all of them seem like just as laggy. If anything, this fire one is the least committal because of this mechanic to it and just in general. It just seems hard to use and it doesn't seem to mesh well with the other ideas and characteristics they've shown off for the character. It's just hard for me to envision like playing the character moving around while also doing this stationary committal projectile. You know what I mean? Some things are easier to envision than others, but I don't know if I can find the best uses for this move unless I had my hands on the controller, you know? Oh! That looks really good, actually. Did you see the jump? And that. This next one is crazy because Olimar is preemptively jumping here, and it was still fine, not punished. So you can use this. You can actually use this, and it shouldn't be too hard to use, actually. Yeah, I think it might actually progressively get worse as it cycles. But this one definitely seems like the best and most useful in more situations, right? Because it's just, it's a fireball. We know how to use fireballs. Like, this is clearly, there's no way you can just do this whenever you want. And if there is, I'd be surprised. We'll see. Because the fire one did surprise me. Yeah, you could do this. That doesn't seem that bad in some situations. See, it's like less useful, but you might have some specific uses. This could also be good off stage too, if you can line it up at high percents and they kind of just float to their death, right? So these actually aren't bad. I had a whole spiel about this move, but I can actually see it now. I think all three of these are pretty good. I think the most interesting thing about this one is it might be safe on shield with the multi-hits and just the way it's spaced. I think this might be like an auto-safe move on shield because of all the properties of it. So that's interesting. So because if you land it at close range, you get to do a bunch of extra damage, right? But I think it'll also be safe on shield, so it's not that risky. And that's the name of the game, right? Low risk, high reward. What do you think about his airspeed acceleration? It's interesting. The movement with like the floating seems like it would be nice. I think with the way the character plays, I actually think his statistics look good. I think the floatiness and like the moves being active, you might be able to cover a lot of space because you can stay in one area longer than most characters. Along with having the multi-hits and like, you know, all that stuff, the floaty jump. Yeah, good point. Similar movement to Pikachu and Greninja. Yeah, so this move doesn't seem to have as much freedom as it looks at first glance. Like, you probably think of witch twist and stuff, right? But I don't think that's what this move is. It's just hard to say when you can, like, because you can't do aerials out of it, can you? And someone mentioned it has slow startup. He goes into free fall after up B. No, that's the good one. But side B, I don't think you can kill people off of landing a side B, can you? Unless you're all the way at the top? Like, I don't think you can go into an aerial or something. So obviously the recovery is great. And then there's this, right? Sakurai said like, oh, the more you do on shield, the more vulnerable you'll be. But I don't think it's as vulnerable as Sakurai's saying. I think there's a lot of ways to use this where you'll be perfectly fine in most cases, even if it's like a second or third side B. But we'll see. See that? Like, it obviously gets worse, but I think there's a lot of ways you could still do this and not like blow up for it. So I wouldn't stress about that too much if you're going to be using the move. So this is interesting in combination with the rest of the kit, right? Oh, so it looks like maybe if you don't do something within a certain window, you won't be able to do anything at all. That reminds me of Ike's side special. If you side B, there's a certain window where you can up B with Ike. I think with Sora, it's the same idea here. If you up B, you have a certain window to input, you know, something like side B. I don't know if it's anything. I think it's just side B. So I think there's a certain window to cancel the up B. So that's cool. It's probably best to just do it no matter what. Even if you're killing with the up special, and like, just cancel into the side B, like pretty much no matter what, just to reset, get back on the ground before they respawn or before they recover, right? Like, I don't see why you wouldn't always do the cancel just for safety. And the nice thing about this is if you're carrying someone to the blast zone off stage, you can drift fully towards the blast zone for, you know, maximum potential to KO because you still have access to side B right after the move finishes and you can recover from anywhere. So it's kind of like with one of the links while you have a bomb in hand, you like up B into the blast zone to get the kill and then the bomb explodes and you recover. But with Sora, you can do it whenever. whenever you're thinking of Sora's like side B and up B, a lot of people probably make comparisons to like Bayonetta or something, right? Because like you can act. But I think the crazy one in terms of potential kills is the up B, right? Because it's strong and it can be canceled into the side B that has 3 uses. So if you can find a way to KO with the up B consistently, that's pretty ridiculous because the percentages will basically be negligible because you could carry them to the blast zone if there's a way to even do that. What an interesting animation. There isn't really a jump animation like this. It's a similar concept to like Mewtwo, Ness, and all that, but like there's just something about it that feels different. You could do a lot of stuff. You could go all the way back down where you started, come up. Yeah, that's literally what he just did too. So going back to what I was saying about up B potentially being messed up is back throw being strong. Back throw being strong means a lot, regardless of whether it kills early or not, because if you send your opponent off stage far enough, you're essentially checkmating them into burning one of their key resources. For example, a more traditional character is a double jump, right? Most characters can double jump and up B. Like let's say it's like Mario, right? If they're far enough, they're checkmated into double jumping at certain timings, or else they have no chance of making it back. So with a character like Sora, if you have a back throw with high base knockback and all these crazy edge guarding moves, that means you can easily checkmate them into getting hit by this stuff. Because he's floaty, the moves are active, and he can act out of all this stuff. So this is where there's potential for the character to be messed up, right? And it's like the things coming together like that. Like basically what I was saying a few minutes ago about back throw potentially making the character really good. So this setup could literally checkmate a lot of characters if it works out the way I'm envisioning it, and I can't see why it wouldn't. Like Plant essentially gets sent so far that they're forced to recover in a specific way, and it makes some things basically unavoidable if you execute them right. This is looking pretty messed up. It's at least at a minimum against a good chunk of the cast. So that's pretty scary. You might just get kind of checkmated against Sora if you're a certain character, especially in combination with this back throw and all these multi-hits and cancels, and yeah. I think this seems really good. And the down air stuff Sakurai was showing off doesn't even seem necessary, especially because the move sends you out. There's so many other things there's so much more space and pressure you could be doing rather than the down air here. But obviously, what do I know? The character isn't out yet. The other stuff like the forward airs, the up Bs, the floatiness with the double jump, I think that's what's going to really get people off stage. Oh, and we're not even going to mention, you know, just a traditional throw them off stage and counter them. Yeah, this is going to be messed up. This completes the edge guarding. The back throw completes the edge guarding, and then the counter completes the edge guarding. This edge guarding looks really broken. And yes, let's talk about the counter mechanic, because we know what it is. So, Sora stops them from moving and then hits them when the counter is activated. So this means there isn't a move that'll get past this. For example, there's a lot of counters. Like let's say I'm using Sephiroth and I counter Lucina's up special at a certain distance. It'll be so fast that my counter will activate, but Lucina will like grab the ledge or something off stage and get behind me. I don't know if that would work versus Sora, because you get stopped immediately. So that's really messed up. So it's not even just like, oh, it's just a different counter, right? It has a different mechanic or it works differently. It's like, no, it's the same thing except broken. It's universalized and it works versus everyone, right? That's some crazy stuff. Where the move activated the counter, not only did it stop, it also moved them away so the counter can hit. So that technically means you're getting moved closer to the blast zone before you even get hit. So it's basically everything we said and better. Terry's already screwed here anyways before the counter hits because you moved him. He physically moved. the big question is like, how is it gonna work the closer the opponent is to the ledge, right? So you guys have seen like the really degenerate like Sephiroth and Joker counters where like they'll like counter on the stage and they'll just hit the opponent while they're recovering upwards, right? Imagine if Sephiroth or if Sora's counter can do that and then position the opponent off the ledge. For example, if I counter Little Mac's side beat to ledge with Sephiroth, it'll just get him off the ledge. So we'll see if Sora's counter is so degenerate that you can do it on stage. Even if it doesn't, you can just do what we already saw. But like, imagine if it's that good, because it's, you know, the big question is, depending on how close the opponent is to the ledge, if they're snapping the ledge as the counter activates, like what happens? That's something we're gonna have to see when the character is released. It'll be pretty easy to bring it down to a science for consistency. So you might not see all of Sora's tools off stage, you might just see the best ones. Like the thunder thing we were talking about, you might not see that too often because Sora can already occupy so much space without it and just kill you in more consistent ways, I think. Oh, the stage being legal? I mean, I don't see a problem with it. It looks like a good competitive stage, but I haven't put enough thought in it, so I don't know. So I guess final thoughts after watching everything. I think the character looks great, like in terms of viability. I don't see any problems. I think the character looks really crazy. So I think something that has been worrying a lot of people is the simplicity, right? I think a lot of people are worried that Sora is too simple to be good or something like that. But oftentimes in Smash, it's the opposite. Oftentimes, simplicity is what makes a character a threat. A lot of simple moves end up being some of the best ones. Like, if you look at Mario, one of the better characters in Ultimate, a lot of it is just fast kicking moves. You know, a lot of sword characters are really simple designs, and Sora is basically a sword character. So I think if anything, it makes the character better. I think simplicity is key, and then Sora has like some unique stuff to him, like, you know, acting out of some of the moves and the cancels. So I think some of the simple moves and then having unique mechanics on top of them, I think really seems to make the character great. Sora's, I think, one of the main, kind of similar to Sephiroth, the character seems to be compensated by being given like lightweight. And that's always something to worry about, because weight is pretty irrelevant in terms of like a tier list. Like Pikachu is really light, but that's not holding Pikachu back on the tier list. Sephiroth is really light, but Sephiroth's a great character regardless. So it's definitely really promising if one of the flaws that's mentioned about the character is weight. If that's one of the only things that comes to mind, then the character is probably really good. I think there's a lot of potential here. It looks very downloadable content I hope you guys enjoyed watching the analysis. If you're on YouTube, thank you very much. If you're on Twitch, thank you very much. I think that about wraps it up. Thank you.